Hey everyone. Today's topic, be grateful for how great our lives are today. As you can see, if you look behind me, I'm standing in front of some old structures that Native Americans used to live in. And it's pretty crazy to see this stuff up close and personal because it gives you an idea of how natives used to live hundreds of years ago. And I mean, knowing this area, it can get really cold during the winter, they get snow, and then it can get really warm during the summer. So it's kind of crazy to imagine people living in these circumstances against a cliffside here. Like, let me show you guys what they're working with. They're literally in like a cliffside, and then down there is like a little mini kind of canyon, and yeah, so they lived in an area like this and made it work. And it's crazy to think about, especially because I imagine the way most people are nowadays, and so many people love the comfort that we have, but they take it for granted. They don't realize how good we have it, right? Like, I can't imagine many modern people would be able to live in conditions like this nowadays. And don't get me wrong, like, obviously these structures are completely decimated from time, so they obviously looked way better and different back when the natives were living in them. It probably was a lot more inviting of a place and a lot warmer and that sort of thing because of the fires they had set up and how everything actually had roofs, unlike now all the roofs have caved in. But yeah, I mean, things were a bit different, but even so, not many people would probably be able to live in this way nowadays, nor would they want to. So knowing that, be grateful for how great our lives are nowadays. I mean, we truly live in comfort for the most part. Even if you don't have an amazing life, even if you're not rich or anything like that, if you have a roof over your head in like a city somewhere, you have running water, you can take showers, you can drink clean water and that sort of thing, you can buy good food for you, especially from a grocery store. I mean, think about how convenient that is. The natives here had to either farm their own crops or go out and hunt for food. Like, not many people do that anymore. And it's insane to think about just how charmed our lives are. Like, the fact that we can order things online and it shows up at your doorstep a week or two later. It's insane. So I wanted to make this video to give you guys a reminder to be grateful for that. Like, you don't need to have a perfect life, of course, but most of us probably are living decently well. As I said, as long as you have a roof over your head, place to sleep, running water, and food to eat, that's pretty darn special. That's like all you really need at the end of the day. And the things beyond that are just stuff that we more so want rather than need. So be grateful for the life that you're living. Be grateful for living in cities if you do, or if you live in a more rural area, at least be grateful that we still have, cars that can take us from point A to point B, unlike how the natives probably had to walk places, and then later on they probably had horses. Well, I'm not too sure how you would keep horses up here on this pseudo cliffside, but yeah, they mostly had not so great methods of transportation, and nowadays we have cars that can move us long distances. We have planes and ships. I mean, natives probably had boats and that sort of thing, but well, there aren't really any large bodies of water around here. But you get my point. We have really charmed, comfortable lives nowadays. It's all convenient, and that's probably a great reason why there's so many weak-minded people nowadays as well, because our lives aren't tough anymore, right? Like, the version of toughness or what's the word? The adversities that we have to deal with nowadays are very different from what the natives would have been dealing with living here back in the day, right? Like, our adversities now are more so mental health things from us not being completely happy with the cities we live in, or maybe we're upset about our jobs and things like that. Like, they're not all that bad of problems when you really think about it, right? They're kind of charmed problems, as opposed to the natives here would have had to have the problem of acquiring food and growing enough crop during the spring and summer to last them during the winter, because they wouldn't be able to grow anything then, and having to hunt for their food and be able to store that as well, and then having enough wood for their fires to keep them warm, and getting enough water. And there's just so much that they had to keep track of and manage. Like, their problems were survival issues, whereas our modern problems, probably aren't survival issues when you really get down to it, right? Like, we really do live charmed lives. So I just wanted to make this video to remind you all to be grateful for the way our lives are nowadays. Even if we have problems of our own, I'm not saying to ignore your problems, I'm just saying our problems probably really aren't all that bad in the grand scheme of things compared to how humans had to live hundreds of years ago. Like, yeah, it's interesting. So just remind yourself of that every now and then, because even if you had things bad, they're probably not all that bad, or not that's not how I meant to say it. They're more so, they could be a whole heck of a lot worse. So we really do live comfortable lives for the most part, and that's just all I'm trying to convey here. Have more gratitude for just the basic things that we have. Like, we usually have things pretty darn nice, and we forget about that. We allow ourselves to get too bogged down in our modern issues, and we forget just how great life is now. I mean, think about it. Like, I'm filming this video on my phone. Like, that's crazy. My phone is a device that I can use to talk to people no matter where I'm at. I can use it for GPS to figure out. I can use it to order food and other things. Like, it's just crazy what technology has done to make our lives way better. So yeah, remind yourself of that more often. But anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. I truly hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you found these ruins behind me cool, because it's really interesting to stand here and think about how they lived back then, because yeah, it's crazy. Like, humans have been super tough for as long as we've existed on this planet, because my God, being able to live here in tune with nature, it's crazy to think about. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe for more. Otherwise, the easiest way you can help me out is just to throw a like and a comment on the video for the algorithm, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.